This video is a rapid fire Q&A session about list building, how to build your list, how to use it for email marketing, specifically for authors who want to sell more books. I'm going to be answering some of the questions that I asked my Facebook group, what questions they have about email marketing. So these are just common questions, frequently asked questions that people have about list building or email marketing for authors. I'm going to try to go through them and answer them really quickly. There are more in-depth videos coming about each of these questions and about a lot of more advanced, more detailed stuff about selling books with an email list. But this is just a quick Q&A. So let me go through the first one. These are in a random order. How to organize, analyze, or clean up your list. So with my list, I have been using MailChimp. Now I'm switching over to MailerLite. And I like to have one list for freebie seekers. So if I'm doing a book giveaway or I have a free book or people are signing up, I like to have them all go into one list where I'll try to turn them into real fans. And then I'll have another list of actual fans. And there's two types of subscribers. So there's the people who sign up for something free and they don't really know who you are yet. And then there are the people who have finished one of your books and they actually know what you write and they like your writing and they want more of your writing. Those are much higher quality subscribers, but you don't want to mix those two up. So I keep two general lists. I know some other authors who have multiple lists or a different list for every email opt-in offer. So maybe they have a list for people who signed up for one book or people who signed up for another book. And that may be important if you're trying to keep track of, when someone signs up for your list, which free offer, which bonus are you giving them? If you have different bonuses for different offers and different lists, then you're going to need something a little more advanced. You can do some of that stuff with MailChimp, but if you put them on lots of different lists, you're paying extra for all the subscribers, which is one of the reasons I'm moving away from MailChimp in 2018. But if you use ConvertKit or if you use MailerLite, it's possible to set up different landing pages with different specific books. And then when they sign up, you take them to a thank you page, and the thank you page has the thing that you promised them, but then you can just put them on one of your general autoresponder series. Anyway, so that's how I organize, analyze, and clean up. It's a little different. I think there's another question coming about this one. So I might talk about it more later, but generally this means when should you remove people? So analyze is, what kind of conversion should you be looking for? Generally about a 20% open rate is okay. And even a 1% conversion rate. So that means maybe 10% of people are clicking and 1% of people on your list are actually buying the thing that you're trying to sell. Even if you can get a 1% conversion rate, that's not terrible, but of course you want it to be much better. So one way you can do that is by cleaning up your list and get rid of the subscribers who aren't really doing anything. Usually you can filter your audience and check, like the people who didn't open the last 10 emails, you can put them on a separate segment, and then you could send them a re-engagement email, or you could tell them, sorry, but I'm cutting you because you're not taking any action. Both are dangerous. In MailChimp, the problem is that my list grows so quickly. I have a lot of people, and I'm much better at list building than I am at selling things, which means, I'm paying for 50,000 subscribers when only 20,000 are actually opening my emails anyway. So I do want to scale down. Like, it's scary to get rid of people who aren't subscribing or who aren't taking action or opening your emails. But on the other hand, if they're not reading any of your content, then you can probably safely get rid of them. I would send a re-engagement campaign a couple times just to try to pull them back in. I'll talk about some ways to do that in a little bit. But mostly like on MailerLite, because MailerLite is cheaper, so I won't worry too much about cleaning up my list. The more important thing is how to make your list enough money to pay for the cost so that you don't have to worry about cleaning it up or unsubscribing people. Any advice on researching email addresses for influencers? Yes, but I would caution against looking for influencers. It's definitely, you want to be looking for people who have a blog or an audience or a following that can share your book, because that would be great. So you want to look for bloggers who have traffic, and you want to look for people who have an audience or an email list. Actually, these influencers are probably going to be other authors in your genre with their own email list. So what you really need to be focused on is building joint author promotions or list shares where you're promoting their books to your audience, and then they're promoting yours. So I wouldn't just look for their emails and say, hey, can you share my book? I would start finding them and making friends with them and sharing their content and providing value for them. And so that when you have a new book launch, then you can ask them to share your book. But if you're just looking for like reviewers, I wouldn't worry about influencers at all. I would just look on, I would try to get actual real readers of your genre who don't have a platform, but they have an Amazon account so they can leave reviews. I think those are more important. That said, the people who review on Amazon are probably more likely to review on Amazon. So there's some tools I use that pull information from Amazon book reviewers and try to get their email address so that you can send them a free ARC copy of your book, which is probably more likely to result in reviews than just sending it out to random subscribers. Like I said, I have my big fan list of people who like the genre, so I know that they're the right readers of the genre, but they may not have read my stuff yet. So I still need to try to get them to open and engage and read my material before I can count on them as fans who will actually support my books with sales or reviews. How to start building your subscriber list before you publish your first book. This is the main thing that I started doing well before I started publishing fiction. I had a list of about 8,500 targeted email list subscribers before I launched my first young adult fantasy novel. So that certainly helped. They weren't all people, like I said, they weren't fans yet, but they were people I could reach out to directly and offer a free copy of my book. So if you have 85,000, young adult fantasy fans and you send them a free copy and get a few thousand downloads, over the last year, I've gotten past 1,000 reviews on about spread between 5 or 6 novels. So I'm doing okay with reviews. I could be doing better. I'm revising all of my content and my email autoresponders now because I haven't really been using my fiction autoresponders very well. So some of the things I'm recommending now, I haven't actually implemented yet. So these are just things that I've started figuring out. But I do think book giveaways and joint author promos work really well. You could put up a sample of your book. I was putting up samples or the first half of a book on Insta Freebie or BookFunnel to build my list. Now I have a list of about 30,000 young adult fantasy readers, but it is important to use your autoresponder to turn them into an actual fan and build the relationship so that they're more likely to support you with their wallets or even just posting reviews. So that's something I'm improving. How to engage your subscribers is a bigger topic, and I have some other videos coming about that. But basically, you need to get them to open your emails. You want to tell stories. You want to be personable and share your why, so your passion for writing, why you became a writer, anecdotes or embarrassing stories about you that will make you sympathetic to your readers. So you have to know exactly who your audience is and what they like, what kind of things they like, and then show them that you're, one of them, one of their types of person. So you can, if you know they're cat people and you mention that you have a cat or you share pictures with your cat to humanize you, if you know that they're Harry Potter fans and you tell them, in my case, my master's thesis was on Harry Potter. So if you let them know the sides of you that make you cool in their eyes, I mean, you have to know who your audience is and what they like, but then you have to try to show them your best self without being braggy or promotional or trying to get them to buy something. Kind of just let them into your world and let them know that you understand them and you care about them. Your biggest challenge with email autoresponders is that you're just trying to get them to open your email and take action. So you can do that more with hooks or telling stories. You can't just be saying like free book or buy my book or 99-cent discount or whatever. They're going to ignore all of that stuff until you've hooked their interest with story first. And by proving that, you kind of have to sell yourself. You have to make yourself interesting enough for them to want to know who you are and open your emails. Like I said, I'm going to talk a lot more about that in other videos. Getting a higher open rates and avoiding spam complaints. This happens especially when you do like a joint author promo and you build a big list, but it's shared between 20 authors and then 20 authors are emailing the same people. I don't like doing that. I don't run my giveaways that way because the problem is you will get a lot of spam complaints. Even if people signed up for your free book, they won't necessarily remember, especially if it's on BookFunnel or Insta Freebie where they're signing up for hundreds of free books and then you start emailing them. It's going to go straight into their spam folder, or they're going to mark it as spam, or they're just not going to open it at all. So part of it is just how you do your list building. You have to list build the right way to get the right kind of subscribers, and also some of the stuff that you can do on your thank you page. So as soon as they sign up for your book, you can send them to a page where you have a welcome video or you have some images of yourself. You could put some of that stuff on your landing page, depending on what you're using, so that before they opt into the book, they already know, you make sure that they can see your picture and your name and, what you write, maybe a short bio, so that when they're on your list, they recognize your name and your picture. So it's a little bit of branding, throughout your funnel. When they first find out anything about you, they need to be able to quickly associate your author name and what you write, other books that you've written, your covers, and your author photo. You can improve it with some video, but mainly you want to make sure, like, even something I've said recently is in the back of your book, you should have a letter from the author, because very few people will actually click on your opt-in offer and sign up to your email list, but everybody's reading the book. So there's a greater chance for you to start building the relationship with your readers in the actual book itself, at the end of your story, where you can write a short introduction to the reader, why I wrote this book, who it's for. I saw this done really well in The Queen's Poisoner, where he wrote kind of the backstory of his experience of writing the novel and the research he did. And it was historically fascinating, because it's basically like, you don't just want to start talking about yourself right away, because they don't care about you. But if they've read the story, they may care a little bit about, figuring out how the story was written, or hearing some more backstory about the process of writing. So it's a way to connect you with the book you've written inside the book, to start building the relationship before or after you ask them to sign up for something. Because you want to start building that relationship and making sure they know who you are as soon as possible, because that starts to happen before they even sign up to your list. And if you do that well, you'll have higher open rates and you'll avoid spam complaints. How to engage people who are just not opening emails. This is kind of similar, but there's a tool I use called, there's several online tools where you can generate title headliners. So I know that my audience is interested in young adult fantasy books, for example. I know what authors they're interested in. I know what other best-selling books they've probably heard of. So I want to take all of those keywords and I want to build a bunch of content around those keywords that are going to appeal to my audience. So I'll use a random title generator for ideas. I also have a big list of my autoresponders series, which is a combination of providing value and doing giveaways, but also name dropping or dropping, other interesting conversation pieces that I see floating around, like Facebook, stuff that gets a lot of engagement or traction, that I can put in the title of my emails, because I know that my audience cares about those things. It can sometimes be controversial topics or stuff that like readers of your genre know about and care about. It kind of shows that you're an insider. Even stuff like, if I know my fans are probably fans of the Supernatural TV show, for example, or something like that, and if I'm also a huge fan, and I want to name drop Sam and Dean or some characters, or, what did you think of the new season, or what was your favorite, Supernatural episode of all time, or my favorite Supernatural episode of all time, stuff like that, where you're sharing interesting content that's not exactly about your book or your genre, but just will definitely grip your audience. So I'm going to go on to the next slide where I have some more questions. So question 7 is how to sell your backlist. And this is a great question. Generally, authors who are, maybe you're starting out, but maybe you've been writing for a while and you just never really focused on email list building before. So when you start building an email list, you start getting new subscribers. How do you sell your backlist? And this is a challenge because often in book promotion, you need to encourage sales with limited time offers or discounts or deals or bonuses. And some of that stuff is hard to do if you have kind of an evergreen funnel. So if you're selling, if this is something that goes out to new subscribers on autopilot, you can't control the timing, so you can't make it match up with actual promotions. So there's no real incentive for them to buy it. So it's a little challenging. One of the really easy things to do is just at the bottom of your emails, you could have, all your book covers. So if you have like 6 different book covers, then you could just have the link straight to the Amazon page at the bottom. One of the things I do will be a giveaway that's tied to a quiz. So to enter the giveaway and win a big prize, they would have to have read all the books. I don't actually sell my backlist very hard. I try to get them to download the first book in a series because I write series, because series are easier, an easier way to make more money. But even if you don't write series, you could just try to get them to read your best book, and at the end of your best book you would have links to, here are my other books. So basically you start them reading something free, and when they've finished the free thing, you give them the chance to buy more things. And then you can offer some incentives, like if you, for example, have a postcard of the cover that you can send them if they buy the book on Amazon and they send you the receipt, then you can send them a postcard. That's not something I really do because it's more work than I think is necessary. I think mostly if you have great covers and a good description, your basic platform is already okay. Your core offer is okay. And there's a book by Chris Fox about reviving your backlist. So if your books aren't selling or they aren't getting any more visibility, that's probably not an email list building problem. That's probably an Amazon problem because your covers are weak, or you don't have a strong enough description, or you don't have enough book reviews. But if you do have all that stuff, then all you have to do is get them to read something so that they know you can write and they want to read more of it, and then send them to Amazon. And if you can send them to Amazon and they're already half interested, your Amazon page is the thing that should sell them on the more books. So the free sample gets them to prove your value. And that's the real challenge, is just getting them to sign up for something and getting them to start reading something for free. But then there's a natural transition in the funnel. If they've enjoyed what you've given them, they'll be happy to support you. You don't really need to convince them to buy a book. The cover should do that. The description should do that. There shouldn't really be a place where you're selling it. But you might want to, in your autoresponder series, for example, I may talk about my favorite, I build a lot of content, so I may send them a link to my favorite time travel books of all time, or my favorite young adult fantasy books based on Greek mythology. So I could send them that piece of content, and in that piece of content will be a link to one of my books, and then I'll say, don't forget to check out these other books. But anyway, so this is more book marketing that's not really totally tied to your email list. Although I do have in my email autoresponder series, there's kind of several different ways I approach this and get them to try to pick up my backlist. But there's not really one simple solution. Which email newsletter provider will give them the most bang for their buck? So I've recently switched from MailChimp to MailerLite. And the reason is, not only is it at least half the price, but it offers some features that I really liked. MailChimp has done some weird things, and they're updating, they're trying to improve, so they've made some nice changes, but it's still too expensive. A lot of other authors use ConvertKit, which has some advanced features as well, but I think for most authors, MailerLite right now is working really well. It's easy to design, you can make nice looking emails, but the main thing is that you can also build a landing page or an opt-in page that's book specific. So I could build like 5 different opt-in pages with different books that look really nice, which go to a separate thank you page, and then they get on the same list. Or I can choose some things like they start off on the same list for the first 5 emails, and then they split. I can move them automatically into different lists. Anyway, MailerLite does some really advanced stuff, so I'm pretty excited about. I've spent the last month moving everything over and rewriting my autoresponders, but I'm pretty excited about what I'm able to do with it. I think my conversion is going to go up once I start using their landing pages, and also I can stop paying for, hopefully, I've been using Optimized Press for landing pages, and also another tool, ClickFunnels, for opt-in boxes and thank you pages and stuff. And I may be able, it's more advanced, but it's $100 a month, so I may be able to get rid of ClickFunnels and just rely on MailerLite, which will save me a lot of money. So that's the one I would use. How to keep costs down. This is a process of deleting subscribers who aren't engaged, but also not really the right question. The right question would be how to make more money from your list. So in my autoresponder series, there's a bunch of examples of things that I can do. Like even when I'm not directly selling my own books, I can be making money in other ways by recommending other books or tools or services. I could add something like every email, I could say this email is sponsored by Kindle, and then I could have an Amazon link to a Kindle device so that, even if once or twice a month somebody uses my link and buys a new Kindle, I would earn some money. I'd earn quite a bit of money. So if you can think of a couple ways to include other opportunities to earn some money from your email list, you won't have to worry so much about keeping costs down. But then you should also, in the same manner, you should be more focused on improving conversion to your books so that you're selling more books or finishing more books. But basically improving your revenue, building up revenue so that your costs shouldn't be a problem. I was spending $350 a month with MailChimp, and I think with MailerLite it's probably going down to like $150, which is great, but it's still $150 a month. So I have to sell at least $150 of books a month to make my money back. But you also have to keep in mind that it's not only about the value of your list directly in terms of your book sales, because the value of your list is also, for example, I can trade with other authors in my genre because I have a big list. So I am getting intangible benefits from my list size, even if I can't measure them directly in terms of book sales. How to weed out freebie seekers from potential buyers is also kind of a misleading question because I don't think everybody on your list needs to be a potential buyer. I have a really big list, and I don't expect them to buy my books. I haven't for the last 2 years. What I do is I give them a free copy of my book when it's launched, and I ask them for a review. So I haven't needed to focus on getting book reviews, and I've built a big audience. And now when I launch a new book or I do a free campaign, I can get a couple thousand downloads really quickly. I can get to the top 100 of the free store in a day without really doing any promotion. So that's really beneficial. When I get that kind of visibility, I can also sell more books to new people, to strangers who don't know me yet. So I really use my list for downloads and for reviews or for sharing, and not so much for sales. However, so that's why I wouldn't really weed out freebie seekers. I love freebie seekers. I just have to incentivize them to take action and share my content or leave a review. And that's why they're still valuable to me, even if they don't ever buy anything. But then when you do a new book launch, the bigger you build a list, the less you need to give away free books. So in my new book launches in 2018, I probably will not give out so many free copies, and instead I'll ask for the sale. And this is easier because I've spent 2 years giving away free content and building up a relationship. So the fans who like my writing, they're supportive fans at this point, and they're not going to be afraid of putting down a little bit of money when I launch a book. So that's part of it, is just building a relationship over the long term so that they become potential buyers. But also, you need to prove your value. Like nobody needs to support you. Nobody should be supporting you because they like you. You should be presenting your book in a way that's attractive enough that it sells the book. You don't need to tell people to buy the book or offer a huge discount or sale. You just need to make it so attractive that they have to have it. So they one-click it because the cover is so beautiful, or the description is so good, or because you have so many good reviews already. That's where you really need to focus on. And then the sales isn't really as big of a problem. But even so, what I'll usually do with my list now is I might launch it at full price, or I'll do it on pre-order for full price for a couple months. I'll launch it 99 cents, and I'll let my list know that they can download it for 99 cents. Or I might say that they can download it, 6 weeks from now for free. I'll do some free days. So that way, the people who really want to read my book right now on launch will buy it when it's available. I might also have some incentives for the pre-order price, or I could do the pre-order price and then tell people, it's launched. You can get it right now for $2.99, or you can wait till next month, and I'll do a 99-cent deal next month. So that way you'll get a lot of, your hardcore fans will just buy it right away at any price, and the people who are price conscious will buy it a month later when you do a 99-cent sale, and then maybe a month after that you could do a free campaign. So you're not really trying to weed them out. It's just that there are different kinds of buyers that will provide you with different types of things. Some of them will send you money, some of them will give you support or book reviews, but it's all valuable. So you want to get rid of the people who are not ever opening any of your emails. But if they're reading your emails still and they're fans and they like your writing and they download your free books, those are still valuable subscribers. How often should you email or blog? It's a little bit of a different question. I send out emails twice a week, or I will do. In the past, I sent out emails like maybe once a month, but my new autoresponder series will go out twice a week. And I've heard some people who don't build an autoresponder series, they just use a plugin that automatically posts whatever their new blog post. It's like a summary of their new blog post, and it sends them to their subscribers. That's actually not something I would use, because I want new subscribers to get a very specific and structured email autoresponder that's meant to engage them and build trust and relationship and get them to start reading my free samples. So I don't worry so much about blogging. I blog for organic content, and I blog maybe twice a month. And I don't even blog that well, but I blog well enough that I get organic traffic, which means I have to work less hard to reach my audience because they're finding me organically. They're just showing up on my website, and then I can try to get them on my email list. Once they're on my email list, I think I have my autoresponder series is probably like 12 emails right now. So that's about 6 weeks of content. So they're hearing from me twice a week for about 6 weeks. And by that time, they probably know who I am. It's enough time that they've started to read my books and figure out who I am. And I've been able to share a lot of good content with them. And after that, I might only blog, once or twice a month. I may only send out a new email once or twice a month, like when I have a new launch or a new news or a new blog post. But even then, you want to be very specific about what kind of email you're sending, and you want to be sending your best content. You want to be really focused on driving engagement, driving traffic to your blog, driving likes or shares of your stuff on Facebook. Anyway, so this is the last question in my FAQ. I hope this has helped a little bit. I have a lot more videos coming that's going to go into a lot more detail on all of these steps. So I hope those will be useful. Also, I'm losing my voice a little bit because I haven't done videos. I'm right underneath Edinburgh Castle in Scotland right now, which is kind of awesome. So I've been doing a lot of fiction writing this month. But I haven't done videos for a while because we've been traveling for the last 2 weeks. So my voice goes out really quickly. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.